last couple of days we certainly saw a lot of children with a wide variety of conditions. Yesterday I feel like was a little bit easier day than today. Today we saw a lot of children with binocular vision disorders, which means disorders of the two eyes that team well together. So we saw several children that had a wandering eye, so one eye that kicks outward, and then several children that had an eye that turns inward, so a crossed eye. So some of those children were able to actually prescribe glasses to help align their eyes a little bit better. We can do that sometimes just simply with their prescription that they normally have, and then occasionally we have to prescribe what's called a prism lens to help align their eyes a little bit better. Several of those children we're actually going to follow up again once they have their glasses in a couple of months, because I think some of those children require vision training or may require surgery to further align those eyes. So we also saw some children that had some developmental disorders as well. So we had one child that came in, and right when he came in we could tell that there was something wrong with him because he was really reserved and really did not want to participate well in the vision check, which is usually my first hint that there's something going on. Because most of the time when a child has really poor vision, they don't want to show you that because they're scared of what's going to happen, and they've been trying to hide that for a very long time. So when we went and covered up his right eye, he really struggled and could only see fingers, so he could not count any or see any of the letters. And then he also had a large eye turn, so that eye would also kick outwards a big way. So we figured that it was probably just an eye turn. But when we actually went and dilated him and looked at his the back of his eye and looked at his optic nerve, we actually found that he has a developmental disorder that affects the optic nerve. So what that means is that the eye is not transmitting light and information to the brain the way that it should. So that is a condition that we can't treat with just simply glasses, but it is something that we can help him in the school system by identifying what's going on with him and try and make accommodations to help him a little bit more in the school system. Two other children that really stood out to me was that we diagnosed two children today with keratoconus. So keratoconus is a disorder of the cornea, which is the clear window that covers the front part of the eye. Normally that cornea is very smooth, so that way when light comes and hits the cornea and goes through it, the light stays and doesn't scatter, and so it gets to the back of the eye and can focus properly at the back of the eye. What happens with keratoconus is that the cornea actually starts to degenerate over time, and so when the light comes in and hits the cornea, it scatters. So it makes it so that the light that gets to the back of the eye cannot focus properly. And that disorder will typically develop around puberty and then progress as the child ages and grows. What I've noticed in the Jamaican population is that keratoconus develops much sooner and is much more aggressive. So it is a problem in the Jamaican population. So I saw two children today, one who was in the earlier stages of the disease, so I could correct her with a pair of glasses and allow her to see a little bit better. What will happen as she ages is that it will get worse, so we're going to follow up with her every year. Once it gets to the point where I can no longer correct her with glasses, then we'll send her for contact lenses, which will help essentially give a new front surface to the patient. So that way, since their cornea is misshapen, we can actually put a contact lens in front of the eye that allows the contact to act as the new front surface so that they will have good vision. Eventually what will happen as the disease progresses is that they will require a corneal transplant. So the second child that we saw today was in a much further stage of the disease. So she is not able to be corrected with glasses. There's no lens that will allow her to see better. So right now she requires contact lenses. If contact lenses don't improve her vision, then she will eventually require a corneal transplant in order to see better. There is a treatment that is available in Europe and the US that's called Corneal Cross-Linking, and they can actually use a light to help stabilize the cornea at a younger age. So if you identify keratoconus in the early stages, which is what that first child had, and you perform that procedure, it can actually slow down the rate at which the keratoconus progresses. So eventually what we want to see in Jamaica is the ability for these young children that we identify to have corneal cross-linking so that they don't need to have a corneal transplant when they're older.